Kingperia gonna respect the potential Shadow Ball the opponent bait with the disarming voice, but undeterred. Kingperia overfarms, fires off the Night Slash bait. Night Slash forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We're then able to outpace to the Scorching Sands, and it's going to be time to get that crocodile out of here. Welcome back to the channel. Yes, I am aware the new season's move updates have dropped. Am I going to talk about it? Not particularly. There's been about 220,000 videos on YouTube about it. Feel free to go check them out. All I am going to say is if you want to see all them buff shadows, you know where to find them. However, what also we've had recently is Sandshrew Spotlight Hour. I'm sure by now, unless you don't play PvP or you've lived under a rock, that the Alolan variant of Sandslash is an absolute monster in both the Great and the Ultra League. Very high risk, a very high reward. However, there's also the Cantonian version, which we're going to be looking at today. Kanto Sandslash, the OG, has access to Night Slash that is legacy and is most certainly needed. Running Mod Shot as a quick move, we're able to spam them Night Slashes at an alarming rate, taking only 8 turns, and that coverage comes in clutch in the Ultra League, where Ghost and Psychic types like Cresselia and Giratina run rampant. Running a second move of Scorching Sands, which is also very spammy, taking only 6, 6, then 5 to reach it respectively. It's got the ability to handle top meta threats like Registeel, Tentacruel, all the dark poisons, as well as Skeledirge. However, its ground typing is not the best. Ground is weak to so many common threats, so today we're going to see, is it going to be worth the investment in the Open Ultra League? Without any further ado, let's get into the battles. We picked this game up where today's featured battler, Kingperia, led Crobat into Giratina. We save switch into Sandslash and we started spamming out Night Slash after Night Slash. Kingperia, recognising the opponent didn't switch out, potentially weak to Sandslash in the back, opted to pivot back out into Crobat, drawing out Cresselia. Kingperia fires off the cross poison bait on the CMP tie trainer. This isn't enough for a future sight. The opponent throw the grass knot, and that is double resisted. Kingperia now able to reach for the Shadow Ball. Is Shadow Ball enough to knock out? Oof, no it's not, but holy, that does a lot of damage. Once again, the opponent played to the CMP tie. They did not win. Grass knot does secure the knockout, and it is Shadow Ampharos time. This Ampharos has a party trick of the Zap Cannon. The opponent pivot out into the Kentucky Fried Chicken. Bird of Death, however, is going to be straight in and straight out. Get that Talonflame out of here, and Kingperia is off to a 1-0 start. GG's, and thanks for playing. Buckle up, guys, because I've got a feeling today's video is going to be full of big booms. In the next battle, we see the Battle of the Flyers. Kingperia opts to save switch into Ampharos, and we draw out Granbull. Kingperia not baiting. Full sends a Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon! Oof, goes shielded. What an anticlimax. Boo, Mr. Opponent, but undeterred, Kingperia can send back out Crobat. Crobat is going to shield once, commit to the full Air Slash farm down. Interestingly, the opponent fires off the Play Rough. Interesting moveset choice. Crobat leaves absolutely loaded back out. Comes Dragonite. Kingperia invests his final Protect Shield on the incoming Dragon Claw and is going to return fire with the Cross Poison. Cross Poison forces the opponent's final Protect Shield. We're already at the Shadow Ball. Hi Dragonite, bye Dragonite. The opponent's final Pokemon is Melmetal, and Sandslash is now about to get herself in on the big boom action. The opponent fires off the superpower, lowering their own defense. We reach the Scorching Sands, and you already know that is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. Heading into the next battle, we see Crobat into Swampert. Crobat going to be applying massive fast move pressure with these Air Slashes. However, Swampert going to be applying all the charge move pressure, spamming out these Hydro Cannons. We tank the first. Kingperia then throws the cross poison without even having the energy for the Shadow Ball. However, the opponent, unfamiliar with our spicy Crobat's count, is forced to shield, fearful of a potential Shadow Ball, which we didn't have. We then pivot out into Ampharos, which is a very questionable switch. Kingperia respects the potential Earthquake. The opponent bait us with the Hydro Cannon, then opt to throw back to back. Kingperia builds to the Zap Cannon, throws the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing isn't quite lethal, however, we're able to throw the next Brutal Swing on the CMP tie, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We see the instant no shield from Kingperia. This gives Sandslash a very nice opportunity to come in, get a running start, and we've also got shield advantage. The opponent send out Ampharos Trainer. That isn't a counter. No, what the fuck happened there? How did the opponent make this catch? We threw 5 Mod Shots into 3 Volt Switches. The opponent should have been stuck in the Volt Switch animation. However, it looks like Kingperia managed to lag. The opponent somehow made a very nice catch. However, they definitely shouldn't have been able to do that. But let's not kid ourselves. This game is absolutely trash at times. However, hopefully it isn't going to change the outcome of this battle. Kingpira respects the Blast Burn. We get baited. The opponent commits to the Blast Burn. They don't get there. Back out comes Ampharos. We fire off the Scorching Sands. Is it enough to knock out? No, it isn't. Uh-oh. If they've got Trailblaze, I think we lose. Oof, the opponent's just got Brutal Swing. Kingpira, buddy, you almost gave me a heart attack, but we managed to take that game. Heading into the next battle, we lead Shadow Crobat into Gyarados. Next season, Gyarados will be more common due to Aqua Tail getting a 5 buff to damage for the same amount of energy Kingpira farms up. Goes straight for the Cross Poison. Cross Poison forces a Protect Shield. We then pivot out into Ampharos. We see the instant no shield deployed. The opponent fire off the Crunch, getting the defense drop. They then pivot out into Swampert, and this looks rough. Kingpira opted to full send the Zap Cannon, which is single resisted, but Zap Cannon still almost one-shots. The opponent commits to the very aggressive Mud Shot farm down. We now send out Crobat. We're definitely in Hydro Cannon range. We might have to shield twice. What the heck? The opponent fire off the BM Earthquake. What is going on? Back out comes Gyarados. Gyarados gets Air Slash farm down. What is on my screen? That did not just say 2 cannon. It is a 2 cannon. What is going on? We fire off the Cross Poison, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Kingpira then fires off the next Cross Poison, and evidently 2 cannon has very little bulk. We shield up the Drill Peck, return fire with yet another Cross Poison, and Kingpira is going to win a very, very strange game. GG's to both trainers. In the next battle, we see something we're more commonly going to see in the Ultra League, Cresselia. However, this opponent once again doesn't build up to a future sight. Why are people grass knotting Crobats? I have no idea. These battles are played around 2300 ELO. I see so many people complain about the algorithm saying they're unable to climb, when the actual reality is people just don't know basics like type-ins. The opponent also threw the grass knot as soon as they got it after 6 Psycho Cuts, which is alignment. So again, if you're looking to climb, I'd highly recommend getting yourself familiar with fast move timing. However, returning to the commentary, the opponent has a very spicy pick in the form of Belly Bolt. We then pivot out into Sandslash, drawing out Skeledirge. The opponent completely core broken by Sandslash. The opponent bait us with the disarming voice, but undeterred, Kingpira returns fire with his own Night Slash bait, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. We're able to outpace to the Scorching Sands. Get that Crocodile out of here. Just Belly Bolt does return. We're going to invest our final Protect Shield on a move that is going to be resisted. However, we are a Shadow, so perhaps would have done enough damage. I don't know. I don't care, but Scorching Sands is going to be all she wrote. GG's, and thanks for playing. In the next battle, we see the battle of the poison types. Very, very advantageous for Crobat, unless the opponent is running Stone Edge. This opponent, very horny for the debuff. Spam the Poison Fang as soon as they get it. It must be like Season 10 all over again, back in the days when Nidoqueen used to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Fang, and just try and debuff the shit out of everything. Although credit to the opponent, having huge cojones, calling the bait. However, they once again throw a Poison Fang, so we pivot out into Sandslash, looking to reset our debuff and save Crobat. We fire off the Night Slash, forcing a Protect Shield. This is almost certainly a Poison Fang. The opponent spamming out these debuffs at an alarming rate. They then pivot out into Primarina. We full send the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands lands for huge damage. The opponent is going to be able to get the full tap charm down farm down. Kingpira sends back out Crobat, fires off the Cross Poison. Cross Poison secures the knockout. The opponent sends back out Nidoqueen. We're able to reach one further Cross Poison. Cross Poison would be lethal from this range despite being double resisted. The opponent invests their final Protect Shields. We see the pivot into Ampharos. The opponent fire off yet another debuff. We get the full resisted Volt Switch farm down. The opponent's final Pokemon is Obstagoon. However, it's going to be straight in and straight out. Zap Cannon secures the big one-shot boom, and we take that game. In the next battle, we see Shadow Crobat into Scizor. Evidently 2 trainers that have had enough of all the stupid charmers running around in the Ultra League. The opponent fire off the Night Slash that does a lot of damage. Crobat insanely glassy. We then see the pivot into Ampharos. Ampharos also going to have to tank a Night Slash. The opponent chip us, then build up some energy, then send out Melmetal. Full send it, Kingpira. Come on, buddy, full send. Unfortunately, Melmetal able to outpace Kingpira. Shields up the Rock Slide. He's full sending it. The question is, does the opponent respect the damage? Oh. In fairness, this Tin Can probably shielded, more fearful that we might be running Focus Blast, as that is more commonly used than Zap Cannon. Although hold up, we're able to survive the Thunder Shocks. We reach yet another Zap Cannon, but this time Kingperia baits with the Brutal Swing. Brutal Swing forces the opponent's final protection, then to the pivot into Sandslash, banking energy on Ampharos. The opponent fire off the Rock Slide, then pivot out into Florges. Very annoyingly for us, this Florges is running Vine Whip. However, I do think Fairy Wind is objectively better. We fire off the Scorching Sands, getting the attack drop, which enables us to survive the Vine Whips, reach Scorching Sands number 2, get that Florges out of here, back out comes Scizor. Scizor gets the Bullet Punch farm down. We send back out Crobat. Kingperia 1 Protect Shield, 2 hide behind. Opts to invest it here. We then fire off the Cross Poison from this range. Cross Poison should be enough to knock out, which it is. We then go for that wham, bam, combo play, serve up the Big Mac and the fries, fire off the Brutal Swing onto Melmetal, taking that game. Nicely done. Oh, hello Primarina, nice to see you nice. Interestingly, this is the Waterfall variant, so not all that dominant for Crobat. The opponent make a very nice Cross Poison catch onto yet another Scizor. Kingperia has a very nice answer for this in the form of his Ampharos. He opts to build up some energy before pivoting into Ampharos. Due to our electric type and the bullet punches are resisted, the opponent fire off the Night Slash. We don't see a boost, but Kingperia is going to respect the second one, recognising Ampharos might be very good against the opponent's team. We get a huge Volt Switch farm down. The opponent sent out Arcanine. Holy! I have never seen a Hisuian Arcanine in the Open Ultra League. We bait with the Brutal Swing this time. We force him the Zap Cannon. Zap Cannon again goes shielded. Unfortunately, we're denied yet another big boom. However, Kingperia sitting in the driver's seat. We have the correct alignment. We send out Sandslash into Arcanine. The opponent looked to snipe. Once again, we go for a wham, bam, combo play. Fire off the Cross Poison Crobat. Then able to Air Slash farm down. Arcanine does get the Fire Fang farm down. However, Sandslash has this game in the bag and is going to get our big boom to seal the deal. GG's and thanks for playing. These battles are absolutely wild today. And you can see Kingperia goes a very nice 5-0 in that set. Heading into the next battle, we see our good old friend Cresselia. Please, trainer, build up to something more than a grass knot. Normally I say ask and you shall receive. I asked and all I received was disappointment as the opponent once again throw the double resisted grass knot as soon as they get it on alignment. We then fire off the Cross Poison, once again successfully baiting. This time the opponent farms to 7, so it could be the single resisted Moonblast. If you're stuck on Moonblast and Grass Knot, Moonblast is definitely the way to go. Kingperia this time full sends a Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball does land. Cresselia survives on a sliver of HP. The opponent reaches apart in Moonblast. Moonblast isn't enough to knock out Crobat. Wins lead, leaving with a Cross Poison that we're going to dump at this incoming Walrus. Kingperia just needs to let himself go down, as of course alignment is going to be key in this battle. As Sandslash wants no part of this big fat Walrus. The opponent doesn't build up to the Earthquake. We easily tank the Icicle Sphere. The opponent then pivot out into Giratina. Kingperia fires off the Brutal Swing. Then I expect to see the pivot, and that's exactly what we do. We finally get to see how Sandslash handles itself against top meta Kingpin. Giratina, that Night Slash, does a lot of damage. Considering it doesn't get the same type attack bonus, Kingperia tanks the first Dragon Claw. He's easily going to be able to tank the second as well. Kingperia now wants to overfarm for 2 reasons, allowing minimal farm for the returning Walrein and giving himself a fighting chance at making a charge move to chip its health. That's exactly what we see happen. Night Slash secures the knockout. Kingperia able to reach a departed Night Slash to chuck into this Walrein, getting the opponent down to around 60% health. The opponent then makes a huge mistake throwing on alignments when using a 2-turn move like Powder Snow into a 4-turn move like Volt Switch. You always want to throw on odd numbers. Instead, the opponent threw on alignment, allowing us to reach the Brutal Swing and take that game. In the next battle, we see some very nice spice from the opponent, running Golurk. Golurk was a Pokemon that got buffed at the start of Season 17, as Mudslap does now generate more energy, but it's a Pokemon that we just didn't see get any play, and it's such a shame, as Golurk is a very cool pick. Kingperia tanks 2 Shadow Punches, fires off a Cross Poison bait. The opponent called the bait like an absolute savage. However, we're at the back-to-back. The second Cross Poison actually isn't enough to knock out the opponent with massive balls. Holy smokes. Kingperia sends out a Sandslash to get a running start. However, the opponent sends out Swampert, and Swampert is a huge problem for this back line. Kingperia shields up the first Hydro Cannon again. We're going for a bait. This time we successfully force a Protect Shield. Kingperia looks to fire off the Scorching Sands. However, we lose CMP. Kingperia is now all shields down. Can we sneak the Scorching Sands through? Scorching Sands goes unshielded. We even get the attack drop. Kingperia able to outpace their Night Slash as the opponent's debuff. Please let it through, trainer. The opponent unwilling to let Swampert go. We get the boost. Can we survive a Hydro Cannon after lowering their attack? Yes, we can, just about. Sandslash able to reach one departed Night Slash, which will finally get rid of this threat. The opponent's final Pokemon is Clefable, running Charm. I'd 100% recommend Fairy Wind, as it's objectively better, but what I'd also recommend is not running a Charmer whatsoever, because we're about to fucking wreck him with the Zap Cannon, and that is going to be all she wrote. Heading into the next battle, Crobat into Abomasnow. This is a massive, massive yikes if I ever did see one. The opponent do us a huge favour though, once again throwing on alignment, perhaps attempting to throw on CMP. Instead, all they did was give us a free Air Slash. It makes sense now actually, as the opponent is running Icy Wind, not Weather Ball, but regardless, you should always throw out 1, 4 and 7, not just spam moves as soon as you get them. Crobat able to get rid of this top tier threat for our team. The opponent then send out Poliwrath into Crobat, and trainer, this is no Crobat answer. Despite our bat being debuffed, the Air Slashes and Cross Poison have got Poliwrath down below half health. The opponent fires off the Icy Wind. We then send out Ampharos. Kingperia fires off the Brutal Swing on the CMP tie to the next Icy Wind. Brutal Swing secures the knockout. The opponent's final Pokemon is Nidoqueen. I think we should have went straight to Sandslash. However, Kingperia has other ideas, looking to chip with the Brutal Swing. We then send out Sandslash. I'd never shield the first move in case they throw a Sand Tomb. In this instance, the opponent only had the energy for the Sand Tomb, but even if they build it up to the big move, I personally wouldn't shield, because if they manage to debuff you with the Sand Tomb, then they could potentially land a hard hitting move like Earth Power with a lowered defense. In the next battle, we see yet another Cresselia. Holy cow, this opponent doesn't throw an alignment, and they don't just go straight for a Grass Knot. Kingperia tanks the Moonblast. We're then going to overfarm, fire off the Cross Poison bait. Cross Poison goes unshielded. Crobat should survive one more Moonblast, however we're going to be left incredibly low. Moonblast gets us deep into the red. Kingperia this time full sends the Shadow Ball. Shadow Ball goes unshielded. Get that Cresselia out of here. The opponent then sending Giratina, and we answer with Sandslash. Let's go Sandslash, show us what you can do, buddy. We are behind on energy, but very few Pokemon in this game are able to outspeed Sandslash to these Night Slashes. It takes us just 4 Mud Shots. The only Pokemon that comes to mind is Greninja, with Water Shrieking, that actually generates energy slightly quicker, as Water Shrieking is 4.66 EPT rather than 4.5. The opponent try their luck, making a Night Slash catch onto Shadow Machamp. We bank all our energy, pivot out into Ampharos. Kingperia very wisely starts using his Protect Shield, shielding up the incoming Cross Shot. We then fire off the Brutal Swing, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. The opponent then for an alignment. Trainer, that might cost you. We shield up the next Cross Shot. Kingperia then overfarms, fires off the next Brutal Swing. Just before the next Cross Shot comes in, Brutal Swing secures the knockout. We're able to reach one final Brutal Swing. Does this put it into Night Slash range? The opponent has the move banked. That is a CMP tie. Is Night Slash enough to knock out? Yes, it is. Very, very close game. GG's to both trainers. So curiosity got the better of me. I did look on PV Poke. Night Slash is better DPE when you're facing Giratina because it is super effective. However, in that scenario where you're only going to reach one move, Scorching Sands would do more damage. Night Slash does around 28%, whereas Scorching Sands does around 33%. So if you're only going to reach one move and using Sandslash, I'd highly recommend Scorching Sand in for the dub. In the next battle, we led Crobat into Obstagoon. The opponent very annoyingly lowered our defense, a boost of their own with the Obstruct. You can see now that Night Slash did massive damage. The opponent has invested a Protect Shield, so it looks like Kingperia happy to invest one back and look to win lead. Is the opponent willing to 2-shield Obstagoon? No, they're not. The opponent then sends out Scizor. Scizor does get a nice Bullet Punch farm down. However, we have a very nice answer for this Scizor in the form of our Ampharos. Again, the opponent throws on alignment. I'm going to keep saying it, 2 turn into 4 turn, just for an odd number. So 1 quick move, 3, 5, 7, etc. The opponent then catch our Brutal Swing on our arch nemesis Swampert. Kingperia then able to reach Brutal Swing number 2 on the CMP tie, forcing the opponent's final protection. We see the instant no shield deployed. Kingperia putting it all on Sandslash to sweep this team. Sandslash very much in the driver's seat with a Protect Shield too high behind, of course. We're going to shield up the Hydro Cannon. Kingperia then overfarms, fires off the Scorching Sands. Sandslash is about to be a Swampert counter confirmed. Hello game. We're getting a huge amount of lag, which means the opponent has force closed the app. However, regardless, nothing is going to save this opponent from their fate, which is going to be Sandslash landing back-to-back booms and sweeping the team. GG's and thanks for playing. I can hand on heart say I've never ever closed the app during GBL. If I don't want to play it out, I just hit the button in the top left. In the next battle, we see PV Poke's #1 ranked pick, Registeel, or the basic bitch tin can. 2 better responses in the back, so stay in school kids, learn to count. What a catch, catching the Zap Cannon onto Sandslash. Our Sandslash save switch is now met with the Wrath of Venusaur. We fire off the Scorching Sands, which hits for neutral and lands for big damage. Kingperia then commits to the next Scorching Sands, forcing the energy off Venusaur. This is now going to allow Crobat to come in, get a very, very nice Air Slash farm down. We resist absolutely everything in Venusaur's arsenal. Frenzy Plant is without a doubt one of the most busted moves in the game. However, due to Crobat's flying poison typing, that is double resisted, so Sludge Bomb would have been the way to go. Back out comes Registeel. We fire off the Shadow Ball, then try our luck at making our second Zap Cannon catch, this time unsuccessfully. Oof, this is not great. Ampharos is met with Swampert. We land the first Brutal Swing. Kingperia able to reach Brutal Swing #2, and this one might force a shield, which it does. Again, the opponent throws at very poor timing. Hydro Cannon doesn't secure the knockout. The opponent then get a very nice Mud Shot farm down. Kingperia going for a very, very risky bait. As the opponent has so much energy, they choose to invest in Protection. We get the boost. However, I don't think we can win this game, as Kingperia is going to have to tank one of these moves. A Zap Cannon, of course, would do more damage. Kingperia actually opts to invest his final Protect Shield. The opponent then go for the snipe, but Kingperia, able to see it coming in, fires off the boosted Shadow Ball, securing the knockout, and we manage to Air Slash farm down Swampert and take that game. So what the opponent should have done there is, as we're using a free turn move, they should have waited for the animation to start, switched out, and we would have been caught in the middle of the animation, allowing them to get off the Zap Cannon. In the next battle, we see the Crobat mirror. Kingperia says no thank you and switches out into Ampharos. Kingperia full send the Zap Cannon, does the opponent respect the damage? Oh, another one shielding. Ampharos will be unable to make yet another Zap Cannon, so instead we settle for the chip damage with the Brutal Swing, which of course isn't going to do a lot due to Cobalion's sub-fighting typing. Kingperia now sends out Sandslash. Sandslash tanks the first Sacred Sword. We then make a very nice catch, catching the double resisted Sacred Sword back onto Crobat. If the opponent make a Stone Edge, I imagine we're going to invest the Protect Shield. I see no reason to bait, but today's video has some very strange plays. The opponent actually full send the Stone Edge, so a very good shield. The opponent then send out their own Crobat. This is only a Poison Fang, or perhaps a Cross Poison. Poison Fang is usually preferred, and the opponent does have Poison Fang. We go for the Cross Poison bait, forcing the opponent's final Protect Shield. Unfortunately, Cross Poison doesn't lower the opponent's defense, so this Shadow Ball isn't lethal, but we managed to Air Slash farm down afterwards. We then spam back out into Sandslash once again, being met with Swampert. We fire off the Night Slash first, fishing for the boost, which we don't get. We then look to fire off the Scorching Sands, however we lose CMP. Kingperia invests his final Protect Shield, returns fire with the Scorching Sands. Scorching Sands isn't quite lethal, however the opponent does have to dump energy as they're left on minimal HP. Hydro Cannon secures the knockout and Crobat manages to come in, get one Air Slash off, and we manage to take that game. Huge shout out to Kingperia for yet another very fun battle submission. So my thoughts on Kanto Sandslash, it's definitely a downgrade on its Alolan brother. However, you never know, we might see some more theme cups in the Ultra League, so perhaps it will have some play in the future. If you've got some XL candies lying around, I think it's a fun pick, but not something you need to build immediately. So if you're enjoying the content, smash that like button. If you're new, consider subscribing. If you like your battles featured on my channel, a link to a battle submission form is down below. And as always, a huge thank you to everyone for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.